So we literally just walked out of this live leadership session, grabbed our coffees, and honestly, we just had to do an immediate deep dive on this for you.
Yeah, we are absolutely buzzing right now. I mean, we walked into that room expecting, a standard technical briefing.
Right, like the usual talk about context windows and parameter sizes and all that.
Exactly. But instead, we got this complete masterclass on human potential.
It was wild. I mean, the whole session was delivered by Scott Wise. He's this transformation consultant, an AI strategist, and the founder of the AI4Leaders program.
Right, and he's certified in AI by both MIT and Oxford. But his actual superpower, like what we just saw in there, is taking decades of experience helping Fortune 500 leaders and translating all this massive technological complexity into absolute clarity.
Totally. And the mission for our deep dive today is to take you on the exact same structured path that Scott took the room on. It's his progression from being just AI curious to becoming genuinely AI capable.
Which is so crucial right now.
It is. And we need to explicitly mention that every single model and framework we're going to explore today belongs to Scott Wise and his AI4Leaders program, which is all detailed in his book, AI4Leaders. Amplify your impact.
Yeah, the goal here is to help you amplify your actual impact rather than just, using $1 trillion technology to automate your daily emails.
Right, because here is the central thesis, the real aha moment from the session. Right now, 70% of artificial intelligence implementations are failing.
70%. That is a massive number.
It's huge. And it's not because the algorithms are flawed or because the hardware can't keep up. It's because leaders are treating a fundamental evolution in human cognition like a routine software update.
Yeah, the bottleneck isn't the technology at all. The bottleneck is the human transition.
Exactly. So to understand how to actually fix this, we have to start where Scott started, which is looking at the marketplace value of human skills.
Right, we have to look at what is actually being commoditized right now.
Okay, let's unpack this.
Yeah.
He introduced this concept of commoditized base cognition.
Yeah, so we all know AI is incredibly fast, right? We know it handles pattern recognition, information processing, and structured reasoning at a speed that a human brain just simply cannot match.
Not even close.
Right. But the implication of that is what really matters. Because every professional on Earth now has access to those exact same capabilities.
Right, it's just an app on your phone now.
Exactly. So those specific base cognitive skills are no longer differentiators in the marketplace. They are cheap and they are abundant.
Is this like the invention of the calculator? Because the parallel seems super striking to me.
Oh, that's a great way to look at it. How so?
Well, before the calculator, if you could compute massive sums in your head with perfect accuracy, you held immense market value. You were literally a human calculator.
Right.
But the moment the electronic calculator hit the desk, basic math became cheap and abundant. The true value instantly shifted away from the person doing the calculation, and it moved to the architect.
The person who knew what to build using the math.
Exactly. We're wasting time right now trying to be better human calculators instead of learning what equations to write.
If we connect this to the bigger picture, that is the exact pivot happening today. The advantage doesn't belong to the person with the most sophisticated algorithms anymore.
Right, because we all have them.
Exactly. It belongs to the domain expert who understands how to apply those algorithms to accelerate innovation in their specific field.
So if computation and base logic are cheap and abundant, we really have to figure out what becomes scarce.
And Scott argues that what becomes scarce is what the machine cannot inherently do.
Like ethical reasoning.
Ethical reasoning, real-world judgment, contextual awareness, building trust.
The ability to actually extract meaning.
Precisely. The massive mindset shift every leader must make right now is moving from computation to interpretation and from production to decision.
But, practically speaking, that introduces a pretty massive vulnerability, doesn't it?
What do you mean?
Well, if base cognition is a commodity, and I am logging into the exact same foundational AI models as all of my competitors, how do I actually differentiate my output? Like if I'm not careful, my strategic planning or my client emails are going to read like the statistical mean of the internet.
And that vulnerability is exactly why Scott developed the framework he calls the 3 layers of intelligence.
Okay, yes, this part was fascinating.
When you understand these layers, you instantly see why most organizations are completely stalling out in their AI adoption. So the first layer is global AI knowledge.
Which is just the foundational model itself.
Right, the general knowledge scraped from the entire internet. It is table stakes. Every single person has it.
So if I stop there, I have absolutely zero competitive advantage. I am just querying the global database.
Precisely. To create an actual advantage, you have to add the second layer, which is personal knowledge.
And this is your specific expertise, right?
Yeah, your nuanced decision logic, your professional instincts, and that highly refined judgment you've built over decades of trial and error in your career.
And then comes the third layer, institutional knowledge.
Right. This represents your organization's proprietary methods, your client history, your internal values, and the cultural logic of how things actually get done in your building.
Because every company has its own weird way of doing things.
Exactly. And the magic only happens when you interlock all three of those layers.
But the danger Scott highlighted in the session, and I mean, this is where the room went completely silent, is the void.
The void is terrifying.
It really is. If your personal and institutional knowledge are undocumented, or if you just fail to feed them into the model, well, AI hates a vacuum.
It will just fill the gap with generic global reasoning.
Right. You log into a generic chat window, you type a 2-sentence prompt, and you get back this polite, highly structured response that sounds completely hollow.
Because it is hollow. By relying only on the global layer, we are quietly training ourselves to produce outputs that literally any rival can replicate for, like, $20 a month.
Which means you are accelerating your own obsolescence.
You are essentially outsourcing your unique human cognition to a generic platform.
So if the global AI layer is a commodity, then the only way to avoid sounding like a robot is to feed the machine what it doesn't have, which is our lived experience.
Right.
But how? There has to be a structural mechanism to actually get decades of hard-won instinct out of a human brain and into the machine.
And the answer to that mechanism reframes the entire adoption challenge. It relies on a concept called mindware.
Okay, here's where it gets really interesting.
So the term itself actually originated with David Perkins at Harvard back in 1995. He defined mindware as the rules, the procedures, the strategies, and the habits of inquiry that the human mind uses to solve problems and make rational decisions.
So it's not just a database of facts.
No, it is the process of how you actually apply those facts.
It's the operating system of your judgment.
Exactly. But Scott Wise takes this 1995 concept and brilliantly applies it to the modern AI era. He defines mindware as the absolute discipline of encoding your personal judgment and your institutional context so that an AI can actually access it and reason alongside it.
And what makes this so vital, what really stood out to me, is the portability factor.
Yes, it travels with you.
Right. Your mindware is learnable, it survives every software update, it moves across every different AI platform.
The leaders pulling ahead right now aren't using secret, superior AI tools. They are bringing vastly superior mindware to the exact same tools the rest of us are using.
It's like, if I think about the global AI model as a massive, blinding stadium light.
Okay, I like this.
It has immense power, right? But without a filter, that light just scatters everywhere. It illuminates nothing in particular. It's just overwhelming.
Right, it's just raw output.
Yeah, exactly. Your mindware acts as a highly specific, precision-crafted lens. When you place your personal judgment and institutional knowledge in front of that blinding light, you focus all of that raw computational power into a laser that cuts exactly where you need it to.
That lens metaphor captures the mechanism perfectly. I love that. But, building that lens requires a deliberate methodology. You don't just magically include your judgment overnight.
Right, you need a system.
Which brings us to the operational core of the AI4Leaders program, the Amplified Impact Model.
Yes, the 6-step workflow. Let's dig deep into the mechanics of these 6 steps, because this is where the theory turns into daily leverage for you.
Okay, so step 1 is AI workspace design. And Scott's immediate advice was to stop using the general chat window.
He called it the noisiest room in the platform.
Because it is. Think about the underlying mechanism of how a large language model works. When you open a fresh, empty chat window, the AI is pulling from its entire massive neural network.
It has literally no constraints.
Zero context about who you are, what industry you work in, or what your ultimate goal is. To get anything useful, you have to spend an enormous amount of time just establishing boundaries.
So workspace design means intentionally building structured AI environments.
Right, using custom instructions or dedicated project spaces so the AI begins the conversation already understanding the specific boundaries of the task.
Which makes total sense. Then step 2 takes that isolated workspace and actually populates it. This is the digital twin.
This step is a game changer.
It really is. This is the actual process of encoding your authentic voice, your leadership narrative, and your decision playbooks.
Because if you want the AI to write a strategy memo that sounds like you cannot just tell it to write in a professional yet approachable tone.
Right, that phrase means absolutely nothing to a machine.
Nothing at all. You have to feed it artifacts. You upload the last 5 memos you wrote that successfully persuaded your board.
You upload the emails that successfully resolved a major client conflict.
Exactly. You train the model on the cadence, the vocabulary, and the structural logic you naturally use.
And you explicitly tell it what not to do. Like, a good digital twin instruction includes negative constraints.
Yes. You tell the model to avoid a generic AI vocabulary. You instruct it to mirror your specific sentence length variation.
And once you build this, you aren't starting from scratch every time. The AI actually begins to reason using your historical frameworks.
Which leads directly into step 3, knowledge curation. So we have the workspace, we have the voice, but now we need the specific facts for the problem at hand.
Right. This is the difference between asking an AI to draft a marketing plan for a new software product versus feeding the AI your company's actual Q3 financial constraints, the transcripts from your last 3 customer interviews, and your specific brand guidelines.
Knowledge curation is entirely about defining the context window. The quality of the AI's output is completely dependent on the quality and the specificity of the artifacts you curate for it.
And most professionals skip steps 1, 2, and 3 entirely.
They absolutely do. They open a fresh chat, they type a vague prompt, and they are, shocker, disappointed by the generic output.
But when you design the workspace, encode your digital twin, and curate the specific knowledge, you have essentially built your mindware.
You are now ready to actually use the tool.
That brings us to step 4, co-creation. And this is where you shift from treating the AI as just a glorified search engine and start treating it as a strategic thinking partner.
During the session, Scott applied the Pareto principle to AI adoption, and this was a massive paradigm shift for the room.
The 80-20 rule.
Right. The Pareto principle states that 20% of your work creates 80% of your impact. For a leader, that 20% consists of strategic planning, complex problem framing, high-stakes decision-making, and relationship building.
And the other 80% is just routine drafting, scheduling, and administrative reporting.
Exactly. But most organizations are approaching AI completely backwards.
Right. They look at their operations and ask, how can we use this tool to automate the 80% of our day that is just busy work?
And sure, automating busy work reduces costs and saves some time, but it does absolutely nothing to differentiate you in the marketplace.
Because your competitors are automating their busy work too.
Right. The real leverage is using AI to amplify the 20% of your work that actually drives high value.
You use it to pressure test your strategic assumptions. You ask the AI to act as a red team and find the critical flaws in your logic.
You co-create higher quality outcomes. You don't just automate lower quality tasks. Automation reduces cost, but amplification creates an actual advantage.
But scaling your output at that level introduces a pretty significant risk, doesn't it?
It does. Which brings us to step 5, human accountability. Because AI owns the output, but you, the human leader, own the outcome.
And Scott introduced this mandatory filter he calls the 3 A's that must be applied before any AI-assisted work leaves your desk.
Right. You must verify it for accuracy, for alignment with your strategic goals, and for authenticity to your voice.
Okay, I have to push back here for a second because this is where the rubber meets the road for me.
Let's hear it.
If I am using AI to scale my strategic output, but I have to sit there and meticulously review every single paragraph for accuracy, alignment, and authenticity, I become a massive bottleneck.
I hear you.
Doesn't the time I spend scrutinizing the AI's work negate the efficiency I gained by using it in the first place?
It definitely feels like a bottleneck at first, but consider the alternative. Speed without quality is simply scaling your errors.
Oof. Scaling your errors.
Right. If you start blasting out unverified, misaligned AI content, you aren't being efficient. You are rapidly destroying your professional credibility.
That's a really good point.
As AI allows you to generate a much higher volume of work, the human filter becomes exponentially more critical. You are shifting your role. You are no longer the exhausted creator of the first draft.
You are now the sharp, critical editor of a high-quality strategy.
Exactly. The time you invest in the 3 A's protects your reputation.
So the goal isn't to remove my judgment to save time. The goal is to apply my judgment to a much broader scope of operations.
That is perfectly said.
But how do we solve that bottleneck over time? Like, how do we make the AI consistently better so the editing process actually takes less effort?
And that is precisely what step 6 is designed to solve. the learning loop.
Oh, right.
This is the mechanism for compounding your advantage. So let's say you spend an hour going back and forth with an AI model. You correct it, you refine the prompts, you add more context, and finally it produces a truly brilliant piece of strategic analysis.
Most people simply copy the text, paste it into an email, and close the window.
Yep. And that brilliant interaction is lost forever.
The activity slides in the session heavily emphasize this. You have to capture the prompting pattern.
Yes.
If you figure out the exact sequence of instructions that forces the AI to produce a great comparative analysis, you save that sequence. You document it. You load it back into your system.
You turn a singular success into a reusable asset. That is the learning loop.
So over time, your repository of highly effective, highly specific prompting patterns grows.
Your mindware gets sharper. The AI requires less correction because you have learned exactly how to command it.
It's just an incredible framework when you look at the amplified impact model as a whole. Workspace design, digital twin, knowledge curation, co-creation, human accountability, and the learning loop, you see the complete path.
It takes you from randomly guessing at prompts to seamlessly integrating machine intelligence with your deeply human insight.
We have covered a massive amount of ground today, from the commoditization of base logic to the structural mechanics of building your own mindware.
We really have. But the most defining moment of Scott's presentation didn't involve a diagram or a technical model.
No, it didn't. It was a single question.
Yeah.
At the very end of the session, the room was completely quiet. He put one slide up on the screen, and he just let it sit there. It is the most important strategic question a leader can ask themselves in this decade.
It gave me chills, honestly.
I want to read it for you exactly as he presented it to us. When artificial intelligence becomes abundant, what will make you indispensable?
That is the ultimate test right there, because your title will not make you indispensable.
Your tenure will not save you.
Even your past accomplishments are really just historical data points.
What makes you indispensable is your human judgment. It is your wisdom. It is your lived experience, your ability to navigate ambiguity, and your capacity to inspire human beings to achieve things they never thought possible.
AI cannot replicate those traits.
It can't. AI does not replace human leadership. When utilized with intention, it fundamentally redefines its reach.
It expands your capacity to lead, and we want to explicitly acknowledge Scott Wise for this transformative material today.
Yes, absolutely. Every framework, every model, and the entire amplified impact methodology we analyze today originates directly from his AI4Leaders program.
So if you were listening to this and you recognize that you, or maybe your entire organization, are stuck in that AI curious phase, you have to take action.
You need to transition to being truly AI capable. Go explore his work. You can access all these resources. You can join the AI4Leaders Digital Academy, and you can connect with Scott directly by visiting scottwise.ai.
And if you want to understand the deep mechanics of everything we discussed, you must check out his book, AI4Leaders.
Yeah.
Amplify Your Impact. It is the definitive roadmap for surviving and thriving in the future of knowledge work.
It truly is. But as we wrap up this deep dive, I want to leave you with one practical challenge to wrestle with today. We spent a lot of time talking about encoding your expertise into a digital twin.
We did.
So think about this carefully. If you were forced to sit down right now and document your personal decision playbook so that an AI could accurately mimic your very best judgment, what is the very first rule you would write down?